Today, all eyes will be on the presidential race, but there are some local races that are mighty and highly contested.
13 Action News reporter Sean DeLancey is live at the election department with more on what you should look out for. Good morning, Sean.
Good morning, Dave and Kalina. This is the longest ballot in Nevada's history, but there are a few races that really should catch your eye. You should be paying attention to. 2 federal seats in the U.S. House of Representatives could easily be flipped, and a new person will fill a seat on the Clark County Commission no matter who wins this election day.
Southern Nevada's House race, District 3, is highly contentious, with incumbent Democrat Susie Lee slinging mud at her opponent Big Dan Rodheimer over accusations of a violent past.
The voters in Congressional District 3 need to understand the well-documented long history of violence and fraud of Dan Rodheimer.
Rodheimer has shot back, accusing Lee of profiting off of her position in D.C. and the coronavirus pandemic.
She sold off all her stock before we even shut down flights to China.
The candidates differ on many issues. Lee, more liberal, is focusing on developing and delivering federal aid packages to keep businesses afloat until the pandemic ends. Rodheimer wants businesses open now and hopes to focus on education, lowering taxes, and bringing manufacturing to the state.
There's a lot of things right now that we need fixed.
My vision is to get us back to where we were and even better.
In House District 4, the person representing nearly half of Nevada's landmass in Congress will be either Republican Jim Marchant,
I want people to have more freedoms,
or Democratic incumbent Stephen Horsford.
Community is all of what it's about for me.
Horsford plans to continue work pushing aid packages to Nevada's ailing economy while also pressing on billions in infrastructure improvements to the area.
My focus is not just getting back to normal. Because normal wasn't all that great for a lot of families.
Marchant is a former businessman and Nevada assemblyman, positioning himself as a pro-police, anti-tax, anti-regulation candidate focused on opening businesses after the coronavirus lockdown.
Of course, we need to do the social distancing and be safe, but we've got to get our economy open. We need no more of these phases. We need to get open right now.
A smaller race, but no less important, squares Democratic former Secretary of State Ross Miller against Republican Mayor Pro Tem Stavros Anthony for a soon-to-be vacant seat on Clark County Commission's District C.
I'm looking forward to continuing my public service.
Anthony is a former police officer turned politician running on a pro-public safety, pro-economy platform.
Getting rid of graffiti and shopping carts and supporting our police officers, and that's always going to be my #1 priority because that's what I've done.
Miller's platform is similar, but argues he's more qualified for the job.
I think we got to do a better job of trying to recruit businesses here.
Miller says he worked on former Governor Brian Sandoval's economic board and knows how to recover and diversify the economy, while his prosecutorial experience gives him the skills to keep people safe.
We got to do everything we can to make sure that we keep people safe, and that means continue to make sure that Metro gets the resources that they need in order to help our economy and keep all of our citizens safe.
Coming up in a half an hour, we will be running through some of the critical questions that are on your ballot that could change the state constitution forever. Dave and Kalina.
Sean, in these congressional races, are the voting populations that close that these races will reflect that?
Yeah, that's what makes these races so interesting, Dave, is the demographics that are made up in these areas. District 3, for example, it makes up the southern part of the state, from southern Nevada, basically Russell Street in Las Vegas, down to the state border. So you've got a more liberal urban population at the top, a more conservative rural area at the bottom, and that is the same thing for District 4. Depending on how those voting populations turn out, it could decide who wins this race.
All right, thanks, Sean.